Welcome once again to one of our night sky tours, virtual night skies tours with our CTC astronomer Warren Hart. And he's going to talk about our August, well, a little bit of our July and our August skies. So, hey, Warren, how's it going?
Going fine, doing great. And thank everybody for being on with us. And we got some interesting information coming on for the end of this month and also into next month.
Okay, all righty. Well, you tell me when you're ready.
I am ready. Let's go ahead. Let's tell people how to find where we got a lot of information for them to check out.
Okay, all righty. Well, you start off on our library website. You go on down to the research study guides, and there you will find Astronomy and Mayborn Science Theater. And this is where we get all of our calendars, our maps. If you are an astronomy buff and you've got, an interest in everything astronomy, including what's going on at the Mayborn Science Theater, then definitely check this out. And this
Mhm.
is where we're going to start. Or do you want to start with the calendar first?
Well, we'll go ahead. Oh, by the way, what's that you have there in the first column, Cindy? Right underneath the big broad one under there. Yeah, that one right in there. That
That's our
first thing.
count.
What is that?
That's our countdown for the eclipse that's going to go over right over this area. So it's less than a year, guys. Make sure you mark it on your calendars.
Very good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and help them to refresh their memory for those who were with us when we talked July. But I'd like to go back to the July, and there it is. That's the first part. But we're going to look now at the second part of where we are right now. And if you look on the last Wednesday of July, on the 26th, right here is the information about what we are doing right now. And also you can some what are some available things to consider. Uh, the previous constellation there on Sunday the 23rd, that's the Peacock. That's down to the south of us. And then you see on yesterday, on Tuesday, there's the moon at its first quarter. And then there's the last two constellations for July. There's Aquila the Eagle and Sagitta the Arrow. And then we go over to Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 29th. And that's when I go to the planetarium there on the campus. And I do my presentation of what we call the night sky tour of the astronomical events that you can see primarily without the need for binoculars or a telescope. Now, you can, of course, you can go ahead with them, but primarily what I put on the calendar are things you can see just with your eyes as you go outside. So also, I do things in the planetarium on the presentation that I cannot do here as we're going because inside I have the laser and we have the full dome and I talk each month on the name of all the different constellations we're going to look at for the month and how to find them and go from one to the next one to the next one to the next one and how to do that. I'm trying to get you more and more oriented and acquainted with the different parts of the sky. And then the last week, and we can just go ahead, Cindy, and go to the August calendar, and we'll change that. So from which is black, there you go. So here we are in for August, and you notice that we have on the 30th, there's about the sun coming up. It's going to be, that's where it is. Even though I put it up there, you can't see it because that's the sun and you cannot see the constellation that it's in. It's just there for reference. And then on the 31st, I put when we have the opportunity, and Cindy just talked about, and there is the link. If you just need, you copy that down, that link, and then you can, in your search box, you can put that in and you will go right to the LibGuide, the library guide for astronomy on the Central Texas College website. And also, by the end of July, you notice there that we will have gone through and toured through 49 constellations so far this year. So we're at 56%. We're more than halfway. And then you look on Tuesday there in the middle, and it says that we have 39 constellations yet to go. Of course, the other 44%. And then I do have at the top talking about how many days till the total solar eclipse. And then the last part on Tuesday, there's about the moon, and it's a little unique for August. I have there that the moon is at its first of 2 full moons in August. So you'll have one now in the 1st of August, and you'll have one almost at the very end. Now, then we go on to the moon on Wednesday, and that's in its location in relation to the Earth, and it's at what is called the perigee, and that's a Greek word, and it's talking about, and as you would read on down, it's going to tell you that this means that it is the moon is at the closest part to Earth in this orbit at this time as the moon goes around Earth, and it's the third closest to Earth of the total of all of them, and there's 13 of the close times in throughout the year. And then there's on Thursday, there's about a relationship of the moon to Saturn. And then we go to Friday the 4th, and here's the first of our 8 constellations for August. And Cindy, if you'll bring up Vulpecula, the fox, would appreciate it. There we go. There it is in a relationship. You notice, see on the outside of the frame there of the sky, there is the listing of the latitude for where everything would be. And as you work your way down from the top, you see the whatever color, yellow, orange, or what, that is going along where our latitude here at the planetarium, 31.1 degrees north. And so if you went outside and looked straight up to what we would call the zenith, that would be directly over your head. So very close to it, you notice in the whiter area, there is where Vulpecula will be. And so you would not be looking for it to the south, looking down toward the southern horizon. You're going to look way up to find it. And also going through it is the one that's called the Tropic of Cancer. And what that is, the line that is when we just experienced it back in June. And that was when we had our solstice, our summer solstice, and that is the furthest north that the sun goes in the sky in relation to us, right there. And there's where the sun would be. And so gives you an idea also of how high in the sky the sun would be there. And we go down to the very last page, Cindy, and just scroll on down, and we have, there is the information for the stars that are in Vulpecula. And notice, wow, 2 stars. Well, the Vulpecula doesn't have a whole lot. And then the other thing, what I include for you is the listing of the bordering constellations around Vulpecula at the time. And then there is more just information as you would go. So let's go back up to the first page, Cindy, and we'll see what I'm talking about. Let's get the full page. And what you have is in there, you see at the top above the white area, Vulpecula, up looking to the north, there is the constellation, that's what's written there, of Cygnus. Now, going clockwise around it, we have Cygnus, Lyra, Hercules, Sagitta, Delphinus, and Pegasus. Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's what I have on the third page. There are 6 bordering constellations for the constellation Vulpecula. And what that is in there for is if there's any constellation you're interested in and you find and you're wanting to expand the part of the sky you become familiar with, then you could choose, let's just say it's Vulpecula, and you want to find more information about one of them, and you can choose any of those 6 and go there, and all of them, all constellations are listed on the web page from the astronomy page there. And so you can slowly begin to increase the area of sky that you are familiar with. And I try to remember and I emphasize, and I do also for the time in the dome when I doing that, or if I'm out with a group outside at night, I encourage them to remember, do not let the sky intimidate you. Find a constellation, something in the sky that you are familiar with and you recognize what it is, and then see if you can look that up on the astronomy page of the library here, and then you can get that and you can begin to add more and more as you go. So that's the simple thing and the reason why I include those additional constellation as far as being listing there. Okay, let's go ahead. We have also in July, we had, and I'm including now also for July, what are I call the 6 extreme stars. Now, let's see what that means. So Cindy, let's bring that up. Here is July, and there happens to be 8 constellations for July. And you notice if you look at the top, it's no, go ahead, you had it just right, just like that. So the up there on the upper left, the apparent visual magnitude, or the VMAG, and want to give you the name of the dimmest star for each constellation. Notice the first constellation listed as Aquila. It's an equatorial constellation. You'll see what that means in a little while. And it's called the Eagle. So the dimmest star of the ones that you can see without binoculars or telescope is that one called Mu Aquilae. And there it is. And then also I say, what's the brightest one? And if you know, and it happens to have a name, and it's called Altair. And there you get that. Then the next 2 is, well, which one of the stars is the closest? And it happens to be Altair, and it's about 17 light years away. 17 light years away. So if you went outside and you have found Aquila and you also find Altair the star, this is 2023, subtract 17 from it. What number do you come up with?
Oh, I hope you're not asking me for math.
Okay, 2003. So
Okay.
what that is saying then, or wait a minute, hold on, 2006. Okay, 2006. That what it's saying is when you go out and you find the star Altair in the sky, the photons that have left that star, Altair, have traveled through space at the speed of light, of course, and has taken almost 17 years to travel that distance to here, to where you are. And when you look at it, those specific photons that you can get in your two eyes, a person standing next to you, they could hug real close and get their head right up right beside you, but they're going to see there's different photons for them. But anyway, that's what it's saying about, and that will then you are seeing something that is a minimum of 17 years old. Net how so that's the closest. And then you see there's another one that is the farthest away. And let's see, it's Almurzan the second. And it's 1400 light years away. And well, let's see, 2023, that would be subtracting from that, that would be 14 or 1623. Wow. So it's a little bit distant from us. The same thing. Those photons that have left that star have taken 1400 years to travel and come, and so that you can see it with your eyeballs. And then the last two is which one of the stars for Aquila, the eagle, that are listed, which one's the smallest? And there you go
Altair.
in Altair. And so that 1.72x means that Altair is 1.72 times larger than our sun. That's all that means. And then, well, which one's the largest? And it happens to be a different star, Gamma Aquili, and it's almost 71 times larger than our sun. So each one, as you go on down, you would see that, and those shaded areas mean something. So let's scroll on down on the second page there of the extreme stars, and I collect everything at the on the last page, and now I want the 6 extreme stars of all 8 of the constellations. So which one of the 8 has the dimmest star? And if you notice, it's in the constellation Corona Australis. Okay, we haven't got to that yet. Which one is the brightest star? We haven't got there yet either. It's in Lyra. So each one of the extreme stars, this is the extreme, we'll say, for the month. The others are the extreme for that specific constellation. So that's just additional information that you have there, and you can knock the socks off your friends or relatives when you're out there pointing something out. And if you just happen to remember and say, by the way, there, that that star is in the constellation Aquila, it's called Almazan the Second, and it's the farthest star that we can see in these 8 constellations, 1400 light years away. You can do a little bit of mental math and tell them when it started from the star, and just have fun with it. So
And yeah, the
anyway,
extreme stars are right here, guys. So
okay,
you can
she's going
find
to show you
those.
right there where it is.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's press on and let's get out of July, because we're pretty well through it, and we want to get into August. So Cindy, let's go ahead, and here is August, and there's the information again for you, and it was just the same as which
Over
was on the
there.
last line for July, so there's not and there's nothing else that's added. It's just that. So the first line, you see all that information there. There's how long, how many more days until the total solar eclipse from August the 1st, and the moon locating all that, and the perigee. And there's the first of our 8 constellations. We've already talked about it. That's Vulpecula, the fox. So let's go to the second full week, and we have then on there, we have, okay,
The Western.
yes, okay, planet Jupiter, and it's at what is called the west or the western quadrature. Now, what does that mean? And it also happens to be, let's see the picture. And scroll it up there, the west quadrature. Notice it's on it, it says western quadrature, and so it's in relation to Earth, where we are. And I include there because of the path of all the planets and the Earth, that the western quadrature position for a planet, especially the outer planets in this case, that would be Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, that it's going to lead the sun, which means you are not going to see it in the evening. You have to wait until the morning sunrise, and then you would see it. And that's what we have there. And that's then in the morning, you would be able to see it. Okay, that's what the Western quadrature thing means. And the information there is for us. Well, let's go ahead, and also we have, and that, hold on, my wife is calling. Yes, yes. Okay, all right, bye-bye. I'll be there when I get through here. All right, bye-bye. Look at car problem for her. She's
No.
okay. Let's press on there. And notice on Tuesday the 7th, talking about Jupiter again, and it says since it's leading the sun, then I gave you the time when it's going to rise in the morning, and that's just after midnight, and that's 12:42 in the morning. And there's the best time to view the planet Jupiter, and as we see it, and you can watch it until the sunlight about 6:52, then you can't see it anymore. Let's go to the 8th, and that's also, we will be in August, 8 months from the total solar eclipse. And there's two things about the moon, of its relationship to where planet Jupiter is, and then also its phase, and it's at the 3rd quarter. Let's go on to the second of the constellations for August. That's on Wednesday the 9th, and that happens to be Cygnus, the swan. So here we go. And if you'll scroll there for us, thank you, Cindy. And we see as that's Cygnus the Swan, and it's a larger constellation, and there's more stars, of course. There's a total of 17 stars, and there's some little green boxes, and there's a yellow circle up there. And what is all of this? Well, I'll tell you in just a moment here. But look at the line for as I connected the stars to give us a relationship of Cygnus the Swan. And you see, if you started from the center of the constellation area on star 11, the larger one there, which would be for us to go through, we would then, on a line that is a I do a dashed line. We go to number 10, we go on down to 7, 5, and 3. So we have a dashed line going like that. And there at 10, there's a second dashed line, and it goes a different direction. Instead of going the long way, it goes a short way from side to side, from 10 to the right over to 6, from 10 to the left over to 12. You put the two of those together, and what object do you have in the sky to look at?
A dragonfly.
A
It's a
dragonfly,
swan or a swan. Yeah.
a swan, or in this case, a cross. And that is called, we have the asterism name for it, that is the Northern Cross, because there is also a Southern Cross down in the Southern Hemisphere. So this is one that's mentioned. And also, let's scroll on down to our second page, Cindy, and let's find, if you will, for us, and we want to find there, and hold on, there you go. Look for number 11, and that is Deneb, which happens to be in the tail of uh, the swan, and also the top of the pole, we'll say the vertical pole of the cross, Deneb, right there, and that gives us our information. Now, we have the other stars as you go on down. Then right below Deneb 11, there's the Western Veil Nebula. So that's not a star. That's a nebula is a Greek word for cloud. And there are different kinds of clouds. There is a gaseous cloud, and then there's also solid material like dust or whatever. And here we have this one, and that's what that when you see the letters, that's what it's referring to as we go on down through there. Now scroll down to the bottom if you would please. There, Cindy, keep going right there. Right there is fine. Notice there's asterisms. Asterism means the only thing, it is the name of some object in the sky that centuries ago, millennia ago, whatever, someone looked at there and it said, you know, by golly, that looks like a cross to me, or a swan, the whole thing. And that's what it is. And so it's talking about, in this case, this is the Northern Cross. There is no constellation that has the name Northern Cross. There is a constellation that is named Southern Cross. And then also one additional thing, it is also part of what we call the Northern or Summer or Navigator's Triangle. And you need two other stars or constellations for that, and the main stars in them. And we had last month, we had Lyra, okay, and that's the harp or the lyre, Lyre, and that star is Vega. And then in Aquila, the eagle was Altair, and you take and connect those three brighter stars, and you have a huge triangle in the sky. And then there's other information there that you can see. Okay, let's go back now to our calendar, and we will see what else do we have. And as far as Cygnus, and then we have the planet Mercury at its easternmost elongation, and it's trailing the sun. And I don't know if you had that one, Cindy. If not, we'll just go on. Let's go to Thursday the 10th and look at Delphinus, the dolphin. And here we have, there's the dolphin. And there's your information, and notice all the different stars. There's a total of 10 of them, and it looks like the little dolphin is jumping out of the water. You know how whales and in this case dolphins also do like that. So the similar thing. Notice up above it there is, at the top is Vulpecula, the first constellation we talked about. And up there is also the Tropic of Cancer. Down below Delphinus, there's another major line, and there is the equator. So this gives you relationship of where you would look in the sky to find any of the constellations. Is it north of the equator, south of the equator? Is it what? You would use this information to help you to find the constellation in the sky. Okay, let's get on out of this and we'll go on. We have another, and see, there's the sun. I put it in when the sun is also traveling as far as we are concerned, as we observe it. It goes into different constellations. So I put it there, but it's kind of questionable because I tell you that the sun is entering on Friday the 11th. It's entering the constellation Leo the Lion, but you can't see it because the sun is up and you cannot see anything in the sky with the sun up other than the sun. So I just put it in there as far as relationship. And then on Saturday the 12th, there is a major meteor shower, the Perseids, and that name comes from the name of the, we'll say, the host constellation where the main uh, showers seem to be coming from, and they happen to be in the region of the sky for Perseus. And so that's why it has the name, they name it the Perseid major meteor shower. Let's go on down to the next week, the 13th and on. And we're now getting more constellations. Here is our fourth. We're going to be coming up halfway. And this is Microscopium. Well, that gives a big clue to me. That means this thing is in the southern hemisphere because there was a scientist. Go ahead, Cindy, we'll get on it. There was a scientist from Europe that was sent down to, and I don't remember whether it was southern Africa or he went to New Zealand or he went to Australia, but one of those places, and he was there and his job had been assigned for him. He was to make up names of constellations for the southern hemisphere because primarily everything from Europe could only go down just a little bit past the equator, and they had no idea what was down south. So they sent him down there, and I think it was a couple years or something like that. So here is one of them that he named, and there it is, Microscopium. What would you think would be that's the Latin name. What would you think would be just the plain old name for it?
Microscope.
Oh, wow. So great that you picked that out. Microscope. Let's scroll down to page 2. And there's the list of them. And I'm going to give you some information. Look down there in interesting information, the second line. This is one of the 14 constellations invented by Nicolas Louis de Lacaille during his stay at the Cape of Good Hope. Okay, that's Africa. From 1751 to 52, and here are the other names of the other 13 for the 14 constellations he made up names for. And some of them he was very creative on, others he just pulled a name out. And like I would look over here, sculptor, okay. How about telescopium? You think that's kind of hard to figure out what the name, its English name would be? But anyway, here it is. So I just wanted to let you know. Okay, we can go on and back to the calendar, and we are going to press on from the microscope. We're going to go on Tuesday the 15th, and we have Capricornus, and it's called the sea goat. Now, I also have a part of the name with it. I call it ecliptical. Notice microscopian didn't have any additional part to it. So let's take a look at the page for Capricornus. Why would I call it, what was it?
Corners.
Ecliptical. Well, look there at the white area in the map, if you will, of the constellation, and what line is going through it? That blue line, the ecliptic. So this constellation along the ecliptic would be, and I call it an ecliptical constellation. Now, we didn't have it this last time, but a previous month, we had a constellation that was in its area was on the equator, so it'd be called an equatorial constellation. But here's ecliptical. Now, the opposite of the Tropic of Cancer, which is in the northern hemisphere, we have here the Tropic of Capricorn. And there it is. And that is going to be as far south as the sun goes, which is going to be the December or the winter solstice. And that gives you a relationship there that you can see. And there are the numbers for it. And the same thing, there's the full page on page 2 has all of that information, and you can refer to it. So if you decide you want to take one of the constellations off of the library's page, you can do that because this is in PDF format. And so you just have to get a blank page in your whatever one that you use for writing in, and then copy the constellation and then go to the blank page, paste it in, and go and get both pages. So you want the front, the map, and you want the second page, the information explained in detail. So that's what I have for you each time. Let's go ahead and let's see, where are we? We're ready. We had Delphinus, and we're down here in the line, Capricornus, the sea goat, and also I didn't include, we don't have to look there, but the planet Uranus in the Tuesday the 15th is also just like up. If you look up on Sunday the 6th, that's when planet Jupiter was at the western quadrature. So Uranus also on Tuesday the 15th is going to be there. Of course, and that star or that planet, pardon me, can be seen by the human eye without binoculars or a telescope, but you have to have excellent eyesight. There cannot be any moon out at all. You need to be out away from any glow in the sky from neighboring cities or anything else. No street lights, nothing there. You want it in as almost, if you can, you want it as pitch dark as possible. The third thing is for Uranus especially, when you look at it just with your eyes, it's going to look only like a little bitty star. It's far away, so it's not going to be real big in the sky, but that's what it's going to be. And to know which one of those little uh, specks in the sky is Uranus, you need to know the stars that are in the constellation. And in this case, we would see where Uranus happens to be at the time. And we'd have to look up where Uranus would be, because then Uranus would be, if you want to call it that, it's a trespasser in the constellation area uh, where it is there. Let's go on the 21st, and the moon is moved on to Spica or Spica, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's in Virgo. Then we get to the 23rd, and this should be familiar. This is what we are doing right now here in July. And so here it is in August. And there we look, and you notice I'm going to be talking next month about the September constellations. I always talk about what's coming in the next month. And there's only 7. And so you would go through, and there is the link for you to find the information, the calendar, and its different things there. So we go on to the Thursday, the 24th. There's the moon at its first quarter, and then also it's close as it's passing by, is passing by Antares, the big star in the night sky for the summer in the constellation Scorpius. And remember, we talked about a couple months ago about Antares being probably the largest star we will see in our lifetime of any star at night, unless there's a nova that comes up and we have some a new one. And Antares is multiple times larger than our sun. And I want to say I believe I'd have to check and see, but it's something like hundreds of thousands of times larger multiple times. So it is a biggie. But in comparison to other stars that you have to use binoculars or telescope, and their Antares is a minor star as far as in relationship. Now, here's on Friday the 25th, here's an interesting thing about the moon. As the moon orbits the Earth, it is also on its orbit, its north-south orbit as it's going around, and it's we'll say it's wiggling back and forth as it goes also in its position, and the astronomical name for the wiggling is libration or libration. And all that means is, if you would look like my hand here, if this was the constellation, let me see if I have where I can get to well, I don't, it's over at another place, but it would be wiggle back and forth. And the moon does that. And it's usually not very much. And it's just that's the way it happens. But here, notice on the 25th is you get the maximum wiggle for the moon this year. Now, if it did not wiggle, all we could see would be 1/2 of the surface of the moon. But because it wiggles back and forth, we can get 9% more of the moon that we would normally not see. So that's just another little piece of information about what's going on in the sky. Then on Saturday the 26th, I will give the talk about the September constellations and the things that are in the sky for us for September. Let's go down to the last line. And now we have on Sunday the 27th, we have our planet Saturn. What is the main characteristic that we like to look for and people want to see either looking through a telescope or with binoculars? Because you're not going to see it. I don't think anybody can see it just with their eyes. They're going to need the binoculars or a telescope. What can Saturn brag about?
It's beautiful rings.
There you go. And pretty well, the major planets, Jupiter has rings. Let's see, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, they have rings, but they are not as uh, visible, bright, or that we have for Saturn that we can see there. But anyway, so if you have binoculars or a telescope and the planet Saturn is going to be at opposition, does that mean it's against? They're voting against? What does opposition mean? Do you have a map there for us to look at, Cindy?
What would it be?
Opposition.
An
I
opposition
thought you.
map?
Mm-hmm. If not,
Octanes?
don't. No, that's okay. Just my
In
error.
this?
I didn't give that to you. All that means is let's go. We're going to get in our spaceship, and we're going to go up above the North Pole, and we're going to go up high enough that we can see the sun, and we can also see the planet Saturn. Now, where is the planet Saturn in relation to the Earth and the sun? So if you look over from Earth, we're above Santa Claus's home, and so we're going to look to over to the side, and there is, in one direction, there's the sun. And then when we turn around and look to the opposite side from where the sun is, there is the planet Saturn in our shadow. And so what opposition means is it is opposite of the sun in relation to the position of sun and earth. And that's why this is the best night of the year to view Saturn that you have there. So that's a good time to go outside and look for it. Let's go on to Wednesday the 30th, and there is our second of full moons. And then also we see that the moon continues to move. It's of the objects, the astronomical objects in the sky, second to a meteor or something like that, that the moon is the fastest object that moves through the sky. One is because it's so close. The next thing after the moon would be the sun, and we have it quite a distance away. And then after the sun, we got to start looking at other stars that are light years away. Anyway, we have seen all 8 of the constellations for the month of August. So that means on the end of August, on the 31st, on Thursday, we have gone and toured through 57 constellations, which ups it to 65%. We're moving along real good. And then you look on the first day of September, and now it's deep down, have constellations yet to go, or 35%. Not quite an accurate 33% that we have there. So that gives you that information of this. And also there is 220 days on September the 1st, and there's the other information, and we'll talk about that next month. So let's see, we're coming up. We got about 8 or 9 minutes to go. Are there any questions or comments?
Alyssa? Any questions, Alyssa?
No questions.
No?
Okay. All right.
Well,
Good.
and I
Well, not
do,
good, but you go ahead.
I do want to share with everyone that Warren has been putting really cool stuff on under the additional things going on in astronomy. So make sure when you guys look at the LibGuide, we've been trying to add some really cool 3D stuff so that can be seen as well. Planet locations. He's got a little bit of everything. So if you're definitely, oh, and about the moon and the eclipses and time and weather. So if you guys are astronomy buffs, oh, and also don't forget he has the fun activities as well. So lots of fun stuff. My light went out. I was in space all of a sudden.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you like that? All
Yeah.
right. Okay, well, Warren, thank you. Let me just go ahead and remind everybody of some of our upcoming events.
Okay.
We have a Writers Guild meeting today. It will be at 3:30. We're just meeting a little bit earlier during the summer for scheduling problems, but we're gonna go ahead and meet at 3:30. We also we have our next night sky tour, which will be on August the 23rd. We have an art exhibit going on right now. Professor Mike Matthews has his art on our second floor art gallery, and we're going to have a meet and greet at 4 to 5 on August 23rd. We also have a magician. He is an inspirational speaker, and he uses magic to inspire. So that will be on August the 30th. That will be at the Anderson Center. And for those of you who are very creative, we are now accepting byways entries. So if you're interested in byways, go to our library page and hit byways, and you can see our events right there. So that's all I've got, Warren. And
Okay.
it sounds to me like you need to go rescue your wife from
I
somewhere.
gotta go get her. That's the either third or fourth time that's happened, so
Oh my goodness. Well, we're gonna
we
let you
shall
go.
see.
We're gonna
Okay.
let you go early today. All
Okay.
right.
And I noticed I skipped two of the constellations. That's my error. Indus the Indian and Octans the Octant. That's my error. We have time next month or whatever to go to it. So
Yeah. Let
we
me
will
just
see.
show a quick picture.
Okay.
Uh,
And there's
and
the
this looks like that.
That's Indus the Indian. Notice it's down
Yes.
right on our southern horizon. So we can't see all of the constellation, but there's no other bright enough stars to see with your eyes. So there's those.
And
And then the other
Octans.
one is Octans. Now that's as far south as we can go because there is the southern hemisphere south pole. And so notice on that, I have there just above the number, the little number 2, and there is a dark circle right there, a dot, and I call it there is Polaris Australis. Because Polaris, all that means in Latin is pole star. And so actually for the full name for our Polaris in the northern hemisphere, it would be Polaris Borealis, which means star northern, pole star northern. So you have that. And this one we cannot see. You would have to travel way south to be able to see it there. So that's my error. I apologize. It
Oh, no
wasn't
worries.
so
No worries.
okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Warren. We
You're
appreciate you
welcome.
doing that. And we're looking forward to another virtual night sky tour. And as you guys saw on our events, he's also going to be doing a round trip to the Mars. So are you actually
Yes.
getting in a spaceship and going there?
Well, we'll see if we can. And, I'm not collecting money, but we'll collect something to see what all we need to go to Mars and back.
Yeah, you've
It
convinced
may
me
be an
that would be a problem.
overnighter. I don't know.
An overnighter. Okay. All right. On that note, we'll let you go and rescue your wife, and we'll
Okay,
see
good. Thank
everybody
you.
later. So thanks a lot, Warren. Bye,
You're
guys. Have a
welcome.
great day.
You're all right. Bye.